Hey Barkside family, Diane here. I just wanted to do a quick video to talk a little bit about ditching the food bowl. It's something that you can do easily right now, even in COVID times where we're all stuck in the house. You don't need to go out and buy anything. You don't have to do anything crazy or special. You can do it with exactly what you have in your house already. So grab yourself a drink. It's, shortly before 12 here as I'm still recording this, so I am still on coffee. But if you want to go for alcohol, go for it. I mean, we're on quarantine. So the very first thing I'm going to talk to you about ditching your dog's food bowl is enrichment. When you make your dog think about their food and work for it, not work really hard, you don't want them to get frustrated, but put in a little bit of thought and effort, it can really have a huge effect on their lives. We typically just put food in front of our dogs, they gulp it down, and it's done. And instead, we can make their food work for them by making them work for it. Okay, so the first thing we want to talk about when we're talking about ditching the food bowl, one of the first things we want to talk about when we're talking about ditching the food bowl is enrichment. By making your dog work for their food a little bit, and not just setting it right out in front of them for them to gobble all down in a few seconds, you can do things like work on a lot of boredom behaviors. You're having them expend energy, mental and physical, that they wouldn't otherwise be doing. By using food toys and slow feeder bowls, you are often letting them exert some dog-type behaviors that our dogs don't get to do as often as they should living in a human world. So things like digging, sniffing, pulling things apart and destroying them. So you're giving them a good outlet to do these things that you are in control of, instead of turning around and later eating your couch cushions or tearing up the wall when you leave. Really any other, eating that your favorite rug that you have. All of these behaviors we have seen in dogs we work with. And it's most of the times caused from boredom and not being able to get out those, those dog type feelings and activities in a productive way. So switching away from the food bowl and making them work for their food in a different way can prevent a lot of those boredom behaviors and those containment behaviors. That's why zoos all around the world use them for all different species. If you go to our blog right now, we have a post up about ditching the food bowl, and there's a really cute video of otters doing enrichment activities for their food at the Smithsonian Zoo in DC. And who doesn't love otter videos? Secondly, slowing down the way your dog eats and getting rid of their bowl can have a huge effect on their long-term health as far as weight. You're getting them to eat slower, their digestion is working better, and fast eaters have been shown to be more likely to end up with bloat and other gastrointestinal issues. If you've never heard of bloat, it's a very scary thing. It absolutely requires emergency vet visits, and a lot of dogs don't make it. So if there's any way we can cut back on that, it makes sense to do it. If you're a person who has been struggling with your pet's weight, which many of us do, it's a huge problem in the United States and growing throughout the world, adding enrichment and getting rid of your bowl is a great way to help them lose some weight. For every calorie that your dog expends trying to get their food, it's evening out that calories in, calories out. So where we have some dogs that just by giving them a slow feeder bowl and sometimes soaking their kibble in some hot water before putting it in, it can, a dog who would previously take 2 minutes, if that, to eat their food, we can slow them down up to, I think we recorded, Ace at around 18 and a half minutes. So that was 15 full minutes at each meal, so that's 30 minutes a day that he was actually working and exercising. Not strenuous exercise for sure, but he was standing, he was moving. You'd see him, he'd spin his little body all the way around the bowl to try to get the different pieces. So one of the second things that I tell my clients when we're talking about ditching the bowl is to take a portion of your dog's kibble throughout the day and put it into little containers or jars. These little mason jars work great. Sorry, I'm trying to work with the camera. You can even get the, the half-size ones. They make these great little plastic lids that you can put on top. But you could use ramekins, you could use any small Tupperware containers you have, and put some of their kibble in different places throughout the house where they cannot get to it. So, maybe up on your mantle, you want to think about places where your dogs do things that you're going to want to be paying them for. So on the mantle maybe is a good spot because it's easy to get to anywhere in your living room. If you could put some on a shelf by the door, and you can reward good behavior when they're waiting at the door. In the kitchen when they're not sitting under your feet at the table, if they're not begging, if they're sitting on their mat over on the other side of the room, toss them a piece of kibble. All these things, put them by the couch. Again, you're going to want to have something with a lid on it so they can't get to it on their own. But if your dog is just snuggling and being awesome, go ahead and give them a treat. If they look at you cute and you want to reward that, go ahead and give them a piece of kibble. Using their daily kibble in this way is great because you're not adding in extra calories with treats, and you're still showing them how much you appreciate them. Dogs, of course, do love us. A lot of people want their dogs to just work because they love us. They do that sometimes, but we can also use their daily food, which they need to get anyway, as a way to show them the things that we really like that they do. So, and feel free to do, if their ears flop away you think is cute, go ahead. It's not gonna hurt them. But you can also do it for things like coming when called. I have a jar of kibble right by our back door, and every time I call in a dog, they get treats. Whether they take a minute or not to do it is another thing. They always get treats when they come in that door. This method of separating some of your dog's daily intake into portions that you feed throughout the day was started by a woman named Kathy Sadeo, and she is going to Smart Times 50. So the original idea was to take 50 pieces of kibble and hand them out to your dogs for doing, 50 good things throughout the day. And again, from anything to looking at you cute, to doing a sit when you ask them, to chewing on a bone nicely while you need to get some work done. All of these things are perfectly acceptable reasons to give them kibble. So again, that's Kathy Sadeo. Her last name is Sdao, and it is Smart Times 50. SMART stands for See, Mark, and Reward Training. Doing Smart Times 50 or handing your dog, little pieces of kibble throughout the day, or whatever you have, if you have cooked chicken, something like that in the refrigerator. It doesn't cost us a lot. It doesn't take a lot of our time or energy, but you will see very quickly your dog really notices. There's going to be big changes. You're also going to start looking for the things that you love about their dog, instead of sometimes we get into, caught up in that cycle of just only seeing the things we don't like, seeing the bad. They keep us up all night with that disgusting licking sound, or they are crazy when the mailman comes to the door. They bark at everyone who walks past the window. All of those things, we tend to focus on those too much and not really focusing on all the reasons we really, truly love our animals. As far as things that you don't need to go out and buy, things you have in your house, let's take a look at simple things like a pasta box. A pasta box is not fancy. You can tell we had bow ties the other night. Later in the week, I can go ahead and put some kibble inside of this box and then just fold up the edges just like you would, a regular packing box. This one's being a little bit difficult. You don't want to use tape. You just want to fold it up so that it's closed. It's okay that there's openings. It's actually really good, especially if you're doing this for a dog who hasn't done a lot of enrichment. You do want to make sure that it's easy enough for them to get the hang of it really fast. You don't want to make it too challenging right off the bat. I also save all of my paper towel rolls, and all Americans should probably have a lot of paper towel rolls right now. So what I do with these is I fold in the ends. Sorry, I'm new to this working on camera thing. I fold in the ends on one side like this. I actually started doing this with our bunny rabbits. I would put their kibble in a toy like this. And then go to the other side. You can put all the kibble in there. And then close this up again. Nellie is my crazy smart pit bull mix. Well, she's a Staffy mix. And she is crazy about enrichment. She figures out all of the puzzle toys. So for her, I'll take a few of these and actually put them inside of another box. I'll usually add in a couple kibbles loose in the box too, but then she's got kind of double things she has to get through. A note on choosing your boxes: if you do use something like a pasta box that has this plastic, you can either remove it if you're adding in the toilet paper roll, or just pay close attention while your dog is using it to make sure that they're not eating that plastic. A little bit of cardboard is not a big deal for your dog to eat, but of course pay attention to their size too. So, you know, a 70-pound lab who eats a little bit of cardboard, not really a big deal. Labs eat much worse. But, you know, if you have a little 5-pound Chihuahua who eats it, that could be a bigger problem. So with all enrichment, you do want to pay attention. You want to make sure that everything is safe. And we'll do some more notes on safety too later. But that's kind of the basic idea of this. You can get creative too. Have your kids right now, your kids are so bored, throw them a pile of boxes and tubes and have them make puzzles for your dogs. It's a great way to get everyone involved, get the kids in activity, and get the dogs in activity for later. So that is that. Okay, another easy, free enrichment game you can do is to take a clean towel or a blanket. This is just a piece of fleece from Joann Fabrics. And when you lay it on the ground, get it all scrunched up like this. And then as it's laying, again, it's kind of tough to show this right now, but as it's laying on the ground, you can go ahead and put pieces of kibble all in these little holes in here and all the folds, and then have your dog, you know, dig and tear through and smell to try to get everything out. I mean, it's the easiest thing. Everyone has towels, everyone has extra throw blankets. You can use it again and again. It doesn't get that messy, but it's easy to wash when it does. And again, it's free. Okay. So now I want to talk about a few other ways of ditching the bowl besides the Smart Times 50. You could go on Amazon or to your local pet store and spend $1 million on different toys and bowls. I'm going to show you a slow feeder bowl. That's one of my favorites. You can get this on Amazon, but again, you do not have to buy this. We have a blog post on our website that I'll add a link in the comments to, that is, you know, our favorite top 10 dog, you know, feeding toys. But you don't need to purchase anything to get rid of your bowl. So here's some quick things that I did purchase. This is from Planet Dog. It's very similar to a Kong toy. It's the same idea. There's a hole here. When you're filling any toy, sorry, I'm trying to work with this camera. When you are filling any toy with food, you want to make sure that there's 2 holes. This hole back here works for airflow, so it reduces the risk that your dog's tongue could kind of get suctioned in, which is very scary, and we obviously don't want that to happen. So don't stuff any toys that do not have a hole on each side. For every opening you stuff, there should be another hole, just for airflow. So again, this is from Planet Dog. It's from their Orbi Tough line. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it is their Diamond Tough series. And then I'm going to show, this is an Outward Hound bowl. Outward Hound has a lot of different designs. There's an orange one, a green one, a blue one. I'm pretty sure I have all of them. As an extra secret tip on how to get these cheap, go ahead and take a look at our blog. There's a little tip there on where to find them at a very discounted rate, and I do that every chance I get. These are also great because they can go in the dishwasher, which I love. Anything that is durable and easy to clean is very high on my list. So again, this is an Outward Hound slow feeder bowl, and again, we're not sponsored by any of these companies. These are just some products that I really do like. If you've ever had a dog in your house who has any resource guarding issues, you probably are already thinking like, well, what can I do? I don't want them to fight, and that's definitely something to be concerned about. Even if you haven't had a dog show any kind of aggression over food or any kind of resource guarding issues. Sorry, just had to take a drink. It is something to pay attention to and be not concerned about, but to pay attention to and follow safety guidelines. So anytime I'm doing enrichment, I always keep my dogs separate. Even dogs who haven't shown issues with this kind of stuff in the past, sometimes they can get so excited, you know, they're just like their excitement level is so high that it can easily spill over into some more aggressive type behaviors that we don't want to see. And obviously, safety is huge. We don't want our dogs to fight. I speak from experience. We don't want our dogs to be fighting. So the things you can do to help that out is to keep them totally separate. You know, put them in different rooms with baby gates, or you can even feed them in their crates. You know, slow feeder bowls are great in crates. Kongs are great in crates. I actually, every time we leave the house, we separate our dogs and I leave them with a slow feeder bowl or a Kong or another food puzzle toy. The other thing to pay attention to is you want to clean up really well afterwards. If you have the food or the enrichment out in a common area like the backyard or the kitchen, one easy way that I like to clean things up is to take an old flat sheet. It doesn't have to be old. It can just be an inexpensive flat sheet that you have. You can get them at Walmart pretty cheap if you don't have one. But I lay that out on the floor ahead of time and then give my dog their raw bone or their toy or their cardboard box they're going to shred to 8 million pieces on that. So when they're done, all I do is I go and I pick up all the corners of the sheet. I dump everything into the trash, obviously keeping the sheet, shake it into the trash, and then that, especially if I've used a raw bone, that sheet can just go straight into the laundry. So it minimizes me having to go and pick up all these little tiny pieces of cardboard off the floor, and especially when it's something that you don't really want going in the vacuum cleaner. That's a great tip, to just, go ahead, scoop it up like that and dump it and be done. Our last safety tip is to always monitor your dog while they're eating or playing with one of these types of toys, especially in the beginning. You don't know how they're going to react to different things. You don't know what materials they're going to try to eat or not eat, so just be very vigilant. If you have 2 dogs, if you have multiple dogs, you want to kind of just like float between the different spaces that you have them in, just to keep an eye on everybody. As you start to know how they're going to react to different things, you can go ahead and watch a TV show or whatever, and just on commercials, go ahead and pop in on them, make sure everybody's good. So that is our video on ditching the food bowl. I hope you guys have some good ideas that you can start implementing right away. I promise you'll see big changes in behavior and your bond with your dog right off the bat. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment or send us a message. If you want to learn more about... My dog is knocking everything over. If you want to learn more about enrichment, about ditching the bowl, or, building your bond, Kathy Sadea, the Smart Times 50, feel free to check out our website. It's callbarkside.com. You can also look at our Instagram and Facebook pages, which are at Barkside Training, for really cute pictures of dogs and animals. And we often post a lot of fun tips and everything there.